Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. And in today's video I'm going to do something a little bit different. Not sure how often I'm going to do this, if this will be a regular thing I'm going to do. Actually visit with another fellow photographer that's in the region here, and the photographer I'm talking about is Bill Carpenter. I met him through a Facebook group. The reason why I reached out to Bill was he just consistently, his photos just consistently caught my eye. So I reached out to him, asked him if it would be okay to, if we came over, visit him in the studio to see his setup and how he does what he does. He agreed to it, so I went over there, sat down with him, and he briefly went over some of the techniques that he uses. And what Bill specializes in is still life macro photography. And I gotta say, the way he can construct and mold light around his subjects is just amazing. And like I said, it really caught my attention in the group. So without any more blathering from me, let's go ahead and head on over to his studio and let's have a talk with Bill Carpenter. After a short drive, I arrived at Bill's studio, and after some introductions, he quickly took me out back to show me his setup, where he proceeded to demonstrate some of the ways he adjusts the light to achieve the remarkable results in his images.
So what I'm doing here is using just one light with a octabox and hopefully demonstrate what one light can do. And it's usually a process of experimenting with this a little bit to get the light. I don't use a light meter. I think it's kind of a useless thing. I don't want to follow what the meter tells me. I want to know what it looks like in reality. I generally manually focus when I'm doing macro shots because the lens, when you get this close, doesn't seem to focus as well. So we're a little too bright there. I'm going to turn the power down. There. Now, if you look at this subject, you got nice light skimming across the side. Most of my lighting is either from the side, the back, or at a 45-degree angle. Never do I go directly on because it just wipes everything out. If we look at this for a second, I'm going to find that most of it looks pretty good. However, here, you get a little too much shadow, so we want to open that up a little bit. You can do that a number of ways. You can use a white card to reflect some light back into it, like this. You see the difference? We've got a great deal more shadow space opened up in here. And that's kind of important to look for. Another way you can do that is to use a little makeup mirror and reflect some light back into it. This is a little more sharp light. The other one is soft and more broad. This is a little more direct. Okay. So it's opened it up. Now, we can modify it a little bit more by feathering the light, moving it out this way, and just letting the light skim across the side of it here. So if we take that shot, we'll compare the difference. But this certainly gives you a good starting point. If you're comfortable with what you have here, generally you can make some adjustments in Photoshop.
So after about an hour of shooting different subjects and Bill sharing some of his knowledge, he generously offered me a modest lunch to where we sat down and got to know each other a little bit better. After lunch, I asked him some questions to get to know a little bit about the man behind the method. So Bill, how did you get started in the macro still life genre?
It started During the onset of COVID, actually, when there was nothing else to do, I decided, well, might as well pick up the camera and do something with that. But photography has been a pastime of mine and a profession for over 40, 50 years. So it's nothing new, but macro is new to me. And my method of learning how to do it has been pretty much self-taught. And a lot of it's been gleaned from tutorials on Photoshop.
What type of equipment would you recommend to someone to get started doing macro still life?
You can accomplish quite a bit with one light. And using some reflectors to fill in the shadow areas. That can be accomplished with speed lights right on top of the camera, not on the camera, but really off camera, off to the side. So bare minimum would be a speed light. From there, you would add modifiers to it, such as a small softbox or some grids, something like that. But the next step up would be to go to a studio strobe. Now you're talking more money than you would be with the speed lights, but it depends how deeply you want to get into it.
So how do you find or pick the subjects that you decide to shoot? Do you buy them? Do you find them? How does all that work?
A lot. I'll walk around the house and look for things. I'll look at something. I'll say, gee, maybe that'll make a good prop or subject. Flea markets, garage sales, estate sales, even antique shops. You'll be able to pick things up. It's even down the beach, picking up rocks or driftwood is a good idea to do that. Really, I mean, there's so many, when it comes to macro photography, there's so many different subjects to photograph. Forks and spoons and knives, a bottle of wine that you might have in the house. So many things. Outside, I'll walk in the yard and I'll pick up odd-shaped leaves or different blooms or blossoms from a flower. Tons of things out there. Can't think of many times when I've gone out with the specific intention of buying something, in particular. Most of the time, I just go out with the general idea of I'm looking for anything that appeals to my eye, or that I think would make a good subject. I don't spend a lot of macro photographers spend a lot of time outside photographing. I'm not too keen on that. I have much more control with lighting in the studio, and it seems to work better for me. There's almost an infinite number of subjects out there. It's just, you can walk along the street and find something interesting laying in the street. I think the thing that I really appreciate the most about it is seeing things in a way that I've never seen them before.
Man, what a talented photographer Bill is. I'd like to thank Bill for opening up his studio, letting us in, and showing us some of his techniques and his setup. If you're interested in more of Bill's work, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. If you have any questions for Bill, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll be sure to pass them on if he's not going to look at the comments himself and answer directly. So with that, I'm going to end this video. If you found it entertaining, if you found it informative, please give it a thumbs up or give it a subscribe. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.